Well, I tell you, I love having another excellent reason to see an excellent friend. He has been with us a few times lately talking about very different subjects.
Very different.
Than he's going to talk about today, but he is so back, and I'm glad that he is. Ray Bechard is with us. Ray, happy July.
Happy July. Thanks so much.
Thanks for coming back to talk about something. Before we even get to that, for folks who have probably heard you but may not have, there are two other hats that you wear that you have shared with us, and I know you wear many, but Ray has been with us, both our show and Leatherneck and Lace, talking about his book, The Berlin Turnpike, came out last year, all about human...
commercial sexual trafficking.
Exactly.
And I'll be giving a lecture on that this Monday night at the Hartford Public Library with Matt Friedman from the United Nations as well. So it's going to be a whole program for the evening and in their new auditorium there. So
what time is that Monday?
That begins at 6 o'clock. Matt will speak first. He's coming. He lives in the Philippines. He's coming here, and he's from Newington, and he'll be speaking on the global human trafficking trade. And then I'm going to bring it to a local angle, the Berlin Turnpike and commercial sexual exploitation here. So we're really happy. We're very grateful to the Hartford Public Library for.
So that's this coming Monday, the 23rd.
Exactly, at 6 p.m.
At 6 p.m. Oh, goodness. And also, Ray was on Leatherneck and Lace just a few weeks ago, shortly after returning from Afghanistan. And while he was in Afghanistan, he called and talked to Brad and me over the phone there while filming a television show about the contributions that the U.S. military is making around the world.
Exactly. That's called Honor Bound. You can see more about it on honorbound.tv on the web. And things are going on very, very well with that. In fact, I'll be going back to Afghanistan by September at the latest.
Real? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so I'll have to call in again.
You will have to actually, and I still remember Brad and I were amazed at the sound quality of the phone call calling in from Afghanistan. That was because you were on a military base, as it were.
A military base on a military line, so they've got some quality stuff going. So
it sounded like you were next door.
I know.
Well, today we're not talking about that, either of those, though either of those and both of those are pretty darn important topics, and we'll continue to touch base and visit Ray on both his Afghanistan project and also the Berlin Turnpike. But, okay, so let me set the stage for this. And I need to start by asking you this question. You recently wrote, though I don't know how or how this came to pass, recently wrote an article that has gotten so much reaction.
It really has. There's a website called the Good Men Project, and it's started by a gentleman up in Boston who was a venture capitalist and decided to get out of that world and start a website, really a movement, about discussing how men can just be better men. What is our place in society? What is our very purpose as a man? And so they asked me to become a contributing writer to that. And I've written articles on some of the other topics we just mentioned, human trafficking and being in Afghanistan.
You're a great writer.
Thank you.
Great writer. You've done that for years and years.
And then along the way, I became motivated to write about relationships between men and women. And something happened. I was at a friend's house, and they were having some carpeting installed, and I was just working on my computer, and this guy just started talking to me, the carpet installer, and he said, gee, I don't know what to do. My girlfriend's turning 40 years old. Do you think I should throw her a surprise party? And I'm like, why is he asking? So I said, well, what's the problem? He said, well, I don't know if she wants to ignore her 40th or if she really wants to do something special.
Did he think about asking her?
Well, he did, and he said, and she was he wasn't really getting a clear message. So I asked him, I said, what, is she is she a positive, upbeat person? Is she sort of looking at this? And he goes, let me show you her photo. And he took out his phone, he showed me this beautiful face, bright, just vibrant, beautiful smile. And you could just tell this was a positive person. And he just said these 5 words: she makes every day better for him. That's how he defined the whole relationship. She makes every day better. And from there was the inspiration for this article I wrote, which is called How to Lose a Guy Forever. So it's 15
steps.
15 rules that women can use if they would like to lose the guy they are with forever. And
so the point of these 15 steps is, of course, not to do any of them, to do, for the most part, the opposite of what they are.
And basically,
if you want to keep your guy.
If you want to keep someone, and I say very early in the article, this can be worked both ways, although I have written the other article now, and that's up online, How to Lose a Woman Forever. There's more steps to that because women are just more interesting. So there's 22 steps there.
And some say a little more complicated.
I like interesting.
I'm
going to stick with interesting. So I say in the beginning of this article, you can really use these for either losing a woman or losing a man, but these are really specific if you'd like to lose a guy. He told me she makes every day better. So I thought, okay, the opposite of that is if you're in a relationship where the person is making every day harder or more difficult, and I've heard this from so many people, they just want to be with someone who makes their day a little bit easier, a little bit brighter. It's easier to come home to, a safe harbor that they can return to at the end of the hard day. You know, we're not living through the best of times. We've had tragic bad news even today. So to be able to have someone at the end of the day you can go to and just feel like, all right, out there it is what it is, but in here with us together, everything seems to be calm, peace, and safe, and I can be myself and talk about ideas and so. Do you think, Ray, that men and women ultimately want the same in a relationship or out of a relationship? Do we thrive on the same qualities in a relationship, or are we looking for different things? Well, in a very, very broad scope, I think so. Obviously, we want to be loved. We want to know we belong somewhere. We want to avoid the pain of isolation, of abandonment, of being lonely. But I think we look for those things, men and women, and I'm speaking in very general terms.
Yes.
Can often look for those things in different ways. Men look for certain things, positive things in a relationship than women do. Men are afraid of different things in a relationship. Women want to feel safe and secure. Men want to avoid shame and humiliation. I say that in the article. The one emotion that men will do almost anything to avoid is shame. And that's something that women don't understand. Maybe many women don't understand or accept. The other thing I mentioned is that many men will look to the woman closest to them in their life, the woman they're in a relationship, to reflect or to decide how they feel about themselves. So if that person is acting, and this is one of the rules, if you want to make the guy in your life feel diminished or drained out, act like you don't like him. You know, don't give him much, don't pay him much attention. Sure, you can love somebody, but are you actually actively liking someone? And another thing is, you know, we talk about understanding each other. It's very important. It is to seek to understand people in a relationship. But I have this rather, some people, radical thought, is that, yes, understanding is important, but I don't know that it is important as accepting one another. I think accepting a person for who they are is far more important than understanding. Understanding can take years. Accepting someone, you can do immediately. And that allows them to feel safe, to be themselves with you. And only then are you going to have them open it up enough to get the intimacy to understand them.
Oh, I like that, because the acceptance means that they know they're not being judged.
Exactly.
That you're not judging them.
And the one thing I say is that it's people say I love you, but I try to hammer this home. Never, ever, ever use the word but after the words I love you, because it makes the I love you conditional and filled with judgment. I love you, but it's like saying, it's like going to the lottery office and say, I won the lottery, but I lost the ticket. So it doesn't matter. It completely diminishes and devalues the saying I love you. When you say I love you, stop.
Because those are pretty special words.
They're the most three special words that I know. To say but completely wipes it out.
Absolutely.